Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. And yeah, this is going to be a short today. As you can see, the winds are kicking up again. They've been calm all day, except they blew all last night and all day yesterday. That's why I didn't shoot and post yesterday. I've been out here doing a few things in the Garden of Eden, and I'm just going to go over those real quick with you and give you a few tips and hints while I'm at it. All right. Now, one of the things I keep forgetting to show you is you see all those little pots right there. Those are all volunteer peach trees. Those are from peach pits that ended up in the dirt of the garden from last year's growth, and they all sprouted into trees. And I'm not done those yet. I found a couple more sprouting out there today. While we're in here, there's my little apple, just getting a little bit bigger, starting to hang down now because it's too heavy to be pointing up like it was earlier. But that's cool. All right, so there's a lot of people wonder, when do I plant this and when do I plant that? Well, different plants require different things. And one of the things you got to know is, take for instance, the naturals that everybody likes growing. Tomatoes, peppers, corn, that kind of stuff. Okay? So, those require your soil temperature to get up to the 60-degree Fahrenheit range. Okay? If you plant them too early, you're not going to do yourself or the plant any favors. Tomatoes, if you plant them in 50-degree soil, tomatoes will get stunted growth and poor production. So you want to make sure that you don't plant until the soil temperature is up to par to where it's supposed to be. And like I said, each plant is a little different. Now the beans and that stuff, and the peas, those are no problem. Those can be planted when the temperatures are still a little on the cool side. As long as there's no chance of frost, you'll still be okay. Carrots, same thing. And the carrots are coming up nicely. I mean, I'll be eating carrots in about a month, and I'll really be happy about that. So anyway, besides that, you've got to worry about companion plants. But before we get to that companion plants and enemy plants, I'm going to show you, you can buy a soil thermometer that you can test the temperature of your soil. In the old days, for corn, the farmers used to say, it's time to plant corn when you could put your naked butt on the ground for 1 full minute. If you have to stand up within a minute's time, get up off the ground is too cold. So not many people go out there and sit naked on the ground anymore. But in the old days, that was just one of those farmers' things. Anyway, you can buy a soil thermometer. You can buy them online or at one of your local plant stores, place that sells plants. Or you can do like I did. You can get one of these. Okay? Now this starts at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll never see it at 550. It's got a long probe on it. So where's that come from? Well, that comes from the Bayou Classic turkey fryer set. Those sets they sell in the stores to deep fry a turkey. Well, this is the thermometer that comes with it, and it's got a clip that clips on the side of the pan with the gauge down in there so you could check the temperature of the oil. Well, since it starts at 50 degrees, and for most plants you want your soil to be above 50 degrees, this works just fine. So you will stick it in and put it down probably about 1 foot deep in the soil, because that's where most of your roots will end up. Now I set this little gauge, you're supposed to set that around here for the temperature you want your oil to get at. Excuse me, there's something blowing in the air and it's causing me to get a little hoarse. Anyway, as you can see, the temperature is dropping right now, and I have it set for 65. I like to give it a little leeway in case there's a cold day along. It'll be plenty warm and still survive. And it looks like right there it's holding directly at 65. So that's a good thing. Okay, so that told me when I checked it today, you can see this spot right here with the straw and chicken poop. I prepped that and I put in my sweet corn. Now you can buy corn in the stores. They sell them with already started, and they might be 12 inches or 10 inches tall, and take them back home and transplant them. Okay, corn is fussy, and it's rated as a difficult plant, just like tomatoes. They're difficult plants to grow for beginners because they're so touchy about everything. Transplanting corn, you want to try to get those out of those little trays without disturbing the roots at all, and make sure the hole that you're going to put them in is big enough to accept that whole little chunk of dirt, and then loosely put your regular soil around it. Do not disturb the roots if you can. If you disturb the roots, you will ruin your crop of corn. They recommend corn be planted or sowed directly in the ground from seed. And that's the way you're supposed to do it. And I always put 2 seeds per hole. And some people will say, soak your seeds overnight and then plant them in the morning. That's fine if you want to do it that way. It does work. It does help speed up the process of germination. But one problem with that is the seeds, if you're going to be planting a large area of corn, you're not going to be able to put all of those seeds in water overnight. So I just put in 3 rows across by 6 rows long. Okay, and you want to separate those at about 8 to 10 inches apart from each other. But you should plant at least a 3 by 3 with corn as your minimum size. They need that closeness together so that they can properly fertilize each other, so that they can grow corn on them. And you should expect 2 ears of corn per stalk. Now I always put 2 seeds per hole when I'm planting, and I'll get 2 stalks grown up side by side. So I'll actually end up with twice as much corn for this area as needed, but I'm going to have to water it more often because corn likes a lot of water, and they're shallow root plants. All right, so moving on past the corn. This area would not be good for tomatoes, okay, and would not be good for peppers, because both of them do not like beans or pea plants. Okay, corn likes it. Corn is a companion plant. Corn likes to be around these things. Beans and peas help hold in and maintain the nitrogen in the soil, which corn likes, because corn is, of course, a relative of grass like your lawn. And you feed your lawn with some high nitrogen like a 2500, and it'll green up in a couple of days. It's just greener than the most expensive golf course you've ever seen. But nitrogen is good for those green plants. Now the beans and peas hold the nitrogen in the soil. They don't use a lot of it, and corn does. So planting them nearby each other is a good thing. All right, my grapevines are doing just fine. All right, so peppers, companion plant of peppers, asparagus. There's an asparagus spear right there. Peppers don't mind. Actually, they prefer to be planted around asparagus. They like it. So today I got some seeds in, and you want to put those about 30 to 36 inches apart, because they do need the room to grow. So I put one in this corner, one in that corner, and one out there in the middle. So I gave them a good distance apart. I could have gone deeper out that way with it, but I figured I want to put some other stuff down the center here. Now, I did have to plant one of my tomato plants right there. I had to take it out of this first pot. The winds had come through and bent it over right at the soil level, and it was damaged at the stem there. So 2 days ago, I planted it there, and I promise I will show you how to plant your tomato plants to get the best growth out of them. I did it to that one, and it's happy. It looks like it's coming back. As soon as it gets a little taller, something you want to know is take any leaves that touch the ground, pinch off or prune off those little branches. You don't want any leaves of your tomato plant touching ground. That's how insects and diseases get into your tomato plants. So I will be moving these tomato plants into the soil probably within the next week or so. And that's the boxcar willies, the same as that one. These are my cherry tomatoes. So my cherry tomatoes, I'm going to put one in right over there and one in right over there. So they got plenty of room between each other, and they'll be just fine. All right. Now, tomatoes do like being planted next to cilantro. I could put one right here, and it would be happy because it's close to cilantro. But I don't think I'm going to do that because it'll be too close to that one. And I had to get that one in the ground quickly before the broken stem dried out and got oxidized. You don't want oxidation on anything when you're working with it. So while I'm here, look at the beautiful clusters of grapes here. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Clusters of grapes everywhere. Oh yeah. I'm going to have grapes this year. Loads of grapes. They are everywhere. Loving it. Even got 2 clusters down here. That's going to be great. I got some flowers open on my mandarin tangerine here. Hopefully I'll be seeing something out of that. I've been seeing a lot of bees in here in the morning, so that's a good thing. They've been pollinating everything, going from flower to flower, going up on my pear tree here. Just loving that. It's good mojo. Yeah. So another thing I did today was I cut off this branch from the quince. The little graft that I had put on there with the Anna apple dried out and didn't take. So this is a scion from the Anjou pear over there that's non-productive. So I put it on here to see if I can get it to take. And it may, if it does take, it may also be fertilized by the Bosc pear. Look at my apples here. That's the Fuji apple from Andy's tree. Got 4 little apple buds on it. And then this is the one from Sharon's tree. This is the Gala apple. And look at that. It's got 4 little apple buds on there. These pears look like they've set pear on them already. So, yep. Gonna have a good fruit filled year this year. Looking forward to that. This is a couple of early corn that I started, and these are the only 3 that had sprouted because the soil was still too cold, but I was experimenting with it. Anyway, I put those in here, and I'll have to make sure I get in here when they get tassels on the top, and I put a bag over one of them, shake the tassels, and fill it up with the little seeds that drop off of there, and then put it over the next one and do it again, and then do it backwards the other way. So there's a 1, 2, 3 step for 2 stalks like that. And I might be able to get a couple of corn to produce on there. So I get 4 ears on there. Even if they're small, they'll be great for the chickens. And something, little corn fact for some of you that don't know it. The silk that grows out of the end of the corn, each one of those pieces of silk goes to an individual kernel on the cob. And that's how they get the fertilization to the kernels. So those little seed pods that come off the top of the tassel of the corn fall onto the silk, and then that has to fertilize the silk going to each kernel. That's why sometimes you get an ear of corn and it's missing a whole row of kernels. Well, it didn't get any of those little seed tassels on it, so you're not going to get any growth on it. So, interesting little fact. Got some growth on this little grapevine here. Got some drying on the leaves though. I did give it a good watering today because the winds have been blowing all night long and drying things out. And my radishes, my spinach, my kale, all that stuff's really doing well. So over here, the grafts I did last year for the Bosque pear is showing signs right at the top of sprouting. Yeah. So that one is definitely taken, and we'll see how that goes. This bud graft right here, I don't know about that, whether it's taken or not, but we'll give it some more time and see. Like I said, if this tree doesn't produce between this year and next, I'm probably going to cut it off right there at the Y, and I'll graft it with a productive tree. So the rest of the thing will just become a rootstock, and I'll get something growing on it. Because I don't really need a shade tree there, and that's what I got. Got a lot of greenery on it. Ever since I got the thing, it's never produced. I get lots of greenery on it, but it never even produces a single bud or flower. So we'll have to see what I can do with that. So that's about it, except for finally right here, this is the Concord grapevine that Tony and Leanne brought me from Nevada. And right there is a grape cluster. There's a grape cluster. There's a grape cluster. And there's a grape cluster. So that one will turn into a cluster down there. That one is just starting to turn into a cluster. That one's just starting to turn in. And that one's just starting. So that little grapevine has taken, and I just got this back on March 26th. So it hasn't been very long, but it likes its place. It's got new buds popping out all over the stem here. So hopefully I've got that one. And then when it comes time to prune it, this stem right here is dead. So I'll be pruning that off right down here at the Y. But I don't want to do that while it's growing because it's still setting root. It's brand new to this garden. And don't want to disrupt that. Let it grow, let it grow, let it grow. All right. So that's all I got for today, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Any questions and comments down below, please. And don't forget the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. This is G Bear signing off.